Good morning, folks. It is Tuesday, April 5th. Welcome to First Things First, Simply Cyber's daily morning cybersecurity threat briefing. I'm your host, Gerald Auger, and in the next 30 minutes, you're going to be delivered the top cybersecurity news of the day, and I'll be providing my expert analysis on each of these stories, on what it means to you as a practitioner or for folks looking to break into the industry. Shout out and thanks to this stream sponsor, Barricade Cyber Solutions, your partner for incident response, ransomware protection, and business recovery. If you're live, love it. I see you guys already in chat. Absolutely makes my day. Thanks for being here. If you're watching on replay, thanks for catching the stream. And if you want to jump right to the news, when that ticker in the corner that I just threw up gets to 0, we will start. So you can just scrub to the right since you have the benefit of it being pre-recorded. But for the next 2 minutes and 47 seconds, I'll be welcoming folks into the stream. Thank you all for being here. Let's get started. Hey, Carrie, good to see you. Anna Lynn. James, awesome. Cybersecurity Central, great post yesterday with all the things going on for the week. If you guys aren't following Cybersecurity Central on LinkedIn, consider giving it a follow. They put out an awesome video every Monday that really kind of encapsulates an entire agenda of cybersecurity content, be it live streams, webinars, resources, individuals who are doing stuff. It's like really comprehensive and really well done. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. Justin Gold, absolutely dominating. Pamela, how are you? Good to see you. Pamela was able to drop some first things first knowledge the other day in a conversation. Love that when I heard about that. Hey, Leighton, get off work just in time. Absolutely. Mubaraz, my man, what's up? Hey, Karen, good to see you. Nothing like pausing my studies in the GRC masterclass to catch them live first things first. You got it. And you know this. Oi, Bim, what's up? Where's everybody at? Today was, obviously a Citadel teaching day. So I was talking about vulnerability scanning, kind of bringing the knowledge to the students about why vulnerability management is simple concept to understand, very, very difficult to implement successfully. We've got shadow IT everywhere. Unfortunately, people just accepting risk because it's easier than doing something about it. What's up, Lon Ray? Gershon, good to see you. Daniel, guys, if you don't know, real quick, you can do !Discord to get the link, or you can see it right here, simplycyber.io/Discord. The Discord community is the all about good times, Simply Cyber spot for networking, communication, talking about all sorts of different stuff. So it's good times in there. So consider checking it out. Good morning from New York, Ziv. Good to see you. New York City or New York Upstate? Because those are two different worlds. Hey, Base, good to see you. Celeste. Hey, guys, just so you know, I interviewed a couple members of the Simply Cyber community yesterday around their TraceLabs CTF experience. And that video will be coming out as a produced piece of content in the next couple weeks. So if you've been TraceLabs curious, want to maybe feel a little intimidated about doing the TraceLabs CTF events, we're going to break down those barriers and allow you to get access to it. The next one is August 7th. So encourage you guys taking a look at that. What's up, TJ Parrish? Lupe, what's up? Love it. All right, guys, looks like the time has come down to 0. So let me keep my promise to those watching on replay. If you want to play along, y'all, CISOseries.com. CISOseries.com is where we pull our headlines from. David Spark and his gang always doing great work every weekday. So, long story short, if you drift away from Simply Cyber, or you just don't like the look of my face or the sound of my voice, I encourage you to continue to get your daily feeds from CISOseries.com because it's just such an awesome resource. That's it. Let's dig in.
From the CISO series, it's Cybersecurity Headlines.
It's Tuesday, April 5th, 2022. Russian secret police exposed in data leak. A leak of data on 58,000 users of the Russian food delivery service Yandex Food contained delivery addresses, phone numbers, and names for individuals believed to be associated with Russia's secret police. Yandex first revealed the leak on March 1st, citing dishonest actions by an insider. Researchers at Bellingcat were able to use this trove of information to uncover the names of Federal Security Service and Main Intelligence Directorate agents, eventually able to find vehicle registration information on the latter. The leaked data also contained delivery instructions, providing information on the types of facilities and security at different state-owned locations.
Wow,
Mailchimp.
that sucks. So, a couple things here. One, obviously, secret police. You know, if it's secret in the way I'm thinking, where it's like undercover cops and stuff like that, obviously you do not want your identity compromised, because you are going to be right in the frying pan with people that you are basically lying to and misleading. And oftentimes, at least as we can see in action movies, they don't take kindly to being infiltrated by law enforcement. What's two interesting things to take away from here? One, this looks like it's like an Uber Eats type thing, except in Russia. Very interesting that they were able to piece together essentially data points from this Yandex food search, which again I think is kind of like Uber Eats, to expose the location and names of these secret police. I don't quite understand the correlation between getting a sub or some noodles delivered to your house and it being like this is a you're a secret undercover cop or whatever, but someone figured it out. The interesting thing, and this is what I wanted to tell you guys, Charles Finfrock turned me on to this. Charles Finfrock, famous of, where is it? Oh, come on. I'm trying to play this little soundbite of Charles Finfrock. It's not working, sadly. Whatever. Charles Finfrock turned me on to Bellingcat. If you guys don't know this yet, and I didn't know this until he came down the other day, Bellingcat is this like awesome resource of like open source intelligence. Like really interesting the way that they're piecing together social media and other sources in order to like do these full investigations. So I strongly encourage you guys checking out Bellingcat. I think it's like one guy or a couple guys that are doing all of this work, but fascinating website, fascinating resource.
Hit with breach. We reported yesterday on Trezor wallet owners receiving phishing emails. Now we know how the actors obtained those emails. Over the weekend, the email marketing firm disclosed that hackers gained access to internal customer support and management tools through social engineering, obtaining personal information that was subsequently used in phishing attacks. Overall, 319 accounts were accessed with audience data exported. API keys were also obtained for an unknown number of users, which has since been disabled. Customers in the cryptocurrency and finance sectors were targeted.
Yep. So it sounds like they said social engineering, but I'm also seeing indications here that they threat actors used API keys to query the Mailchimp database to pull those things. Guys, this isn't surprising. Think for a second, right? Like if you're going to try to target people who are into crypto, attacking a service like this where they basically, I don't want to say they curated a list, but like you can get defined lists for people who are using certain services or certain technologies or whatever. And, you know, Mailchimp is a wildly popular solution that allows you to connect, communicate, and effectively sell to an audience of individuals, right? So clever bit of recon by the bad guys. You know, obviously they're not authorized or allowed to query Mailchimp's internal data in order to dump all these records, but bad guys do bad guys things. So interesting. Again, even with this information, they still have to phish the victims, right? So just be mindful, educate your end users, educate your family on, you know, questioning emails, don't follow links in emails, all the standard stuff that we talk about all the time. But just know sometimes it's not just spray and pray, right? There is a little bit of logic and a little bit of focus. I almost feel like this is like a hybrid between spray and pray and spear phishing.
Bureau of Cyberspace and Digital Policy goes live. The U.S. State Department announced the Cyberspace and Digital Policy Bureau, which amalgamates 3 existing teams to address the national security challenges, economic opportunities, and implications for U.S. values associated with cyberspace, digital technologies, and digital policy. The Bureau will be headed by a Senate-confirmed ambassador and includes 3 units: International Cyberspace Security, International Information and Communications Policy, and Digital Freedom. This marks a reemergence of the State Department's cyber mission, which was demoted back in 2017 by former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson.
Okay. Guys, this is one that needs to be drilled into significantly deeper. I will be digging into this one. In fact, Actually, this is a perfect time to share this. So I wasn't going to do this just yet, but guys, I'm launching like a new show concept. We'll see how it goes, but it's called what's on your radar is like what a working title I'm calling it, and I'm talking threats, attacks, and cyber. But basically, it's going to be senior practitioners in the industry, maybe 2, 3, 4 of us every Friday at 4:00. And it's like, what's on your radar? Like, what is something that popped for you this week that you're like digging into? And I'm telling you right now, this Friday at 4:00, this will be what's on my radar. This is very interesting. This is big moves at the federal, US federal level. They're collapsing 3 different agencies into one. They're consolidating power. I don't know how CISA factors into this. And the weird thing is they said it's going to be led by an ambassador. So that doesn't make much sense to me. Usually it's like a secretary at the larger level agencies, and then smaller ones, they have like directors, like Jen Easterly's the director of CISA. So for me, I need to dig into this because I need to understand how this is going to work. As CISA gets more money, as President Biden releases executive orders and funds cybersecurity initiatives, and as the public-private sector intersection begins to blur, as as private sector entities are basically becoming required to report to the public sector on breaches and all these other things. The FBI has the IC3. There's a lot going on here, guys, but this is another indication of how serious and how real making cybersecurity an absolute top of the agenda topic is in 2022. So I'll be digging into this and actually going quite deep on Friday on what's on my radar. And just stay tuned. I'll be talking more about this in a little bit, okay? But very interesting stuff.
DoD could see a rollback of cyber authority. Back in 2018, the National Security Presidential Memorandum 13 became policy. While classified in 2020, it was described by DoD General Counsel as allowing the delegation of well-defined authorities to the Secretary of Defense to conduct time-sensitive military operations in cyberspace without explicit White House approval. Cyberscoop sources say that the White House launched an interagency review process for revisions on this memorandum in order to regularize cyber operations. Some have argued that the memorandum gave DoD the agility to continuously engage with cyber threats. Others point out that the White House must control decisions.
Okay. I'm seeing that the audio is choppy. It's all audio, not the mic. Okay, guys. Let me do my real time magic button here. I have a command that I have copy and pasted, so I can do. Oh, jeez. Okay, how's that? I have just killed and restarted my audio daemon. Does this sound better? Does this sound better? All right.
White House launched and 20. It was described by DoD General in 2017 by former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. Confirmed by Ambassador.
Here we go.
DoD could see a rollback of cyber authority. Back in 2018, the National Security Presidential Memorandum 13 became policy. While classified in 2020, it was described by DoD General Counsel as allowing the delegation of well-defined authorities to the Secretary of Defense to conduct time-sensitive military operations in cyberspace without explicit White House approval. Cyberscoop sources say that the White House launched an interagency review process for revisions on this memorandum in order to regularize cyber operations. Some have argued that the memorandum gave DoD the agility to continuously engage with cyber threats. Others point out that the White House must control decisions to launch cyber initiatives to coordinate with other agencies' strategic imperatives.
Okay, so this is interesting. The way that I interpret this is there is a debate, essentially, right? So at its surface, should the DoD be able to execute cyber operations as they see fit? Now, the White House executive branch, they don't tell, I mean, they'll help impart like strategic goals, right? Like we're going into Iraq or something like that. But as far as like the operation of like movements and supply chain and all these things, what we're doing in theaters, that's all within the DoD scope, right? And they control like the different branches of the military and all those things. The weird or interesting thing with cybersecurity is it's the battlefield's over there, right? And the DoD is doing that. With cyber, it's the internet, it's everywhere. And if the DoD is operating in cyberspace on operations, there's a lot of potential for collateral damage. There's a potential for executing a mission that puts the United States in a particularly precarious situation of, violating international norms of war and these things. So part of the argument is, hey, because we have this like new agency that's just got consolidated, because we have Cyber Command and all these other things, we need to coordinate our effort amongst everybody. And that's why the executive branch wants to handle it, because the DoD is just one department that we're aware of, and we want to orchestrate it against all of them, which would, by the way, obviously not nerf, but slow down the ability for the DoD to operate or execute on objectives, right? Because now they got to run it up the flagpole to get the White House approval, and there'll be meetings and discussions and stuff like that. So this is the crux of this debate. Which one of those is right? It's a philosophical decision. There's no right answer, but this is currently being discussed. I don't want to weigh in my opinion on this without thinking about it, but just know that this is kind of at the geopolitical level around how the United States would respond or how they're executing cyber operations. Okay. So very, very interesting.
Now, a word from our sponsor, Code 40 data showing that people inside Russia are increasingly circumventing domestic blocking to get news from Western sources. Russia has blocked direct access to Western media and social networks, but has not isolated the country from the total global internet. In March, the most downloaded mobile apps in Russia include VPN tools, the secure messaging app Telegram, and Cloudflare's DNS resolver Warp. Looking at Warp data, Cloudflare saw a precipitous rise in Russian-based use, with most DNS lookups involving large French, British, and US-based newspapers.
Yep. Okay, so, this isn't a surprise, right? Like, just because Russia says or the great, firewall of China, or, the Russian group putting in blocks to be able to access certain media outlets, people are going to find ways to get around it. We have VPNs, we have, alternative telecommunication mediums. There's always going to be ways to get it, right? I mean, I think you'd have to go full North Korea to be able to like really isolate. And even that is not completely isolated. I think it's more about having access to computer and technology than it is about really good ACLs for that particular country. But just know that, this isn't a surprise. And guys, if you need to get access to stuff, this is going to happen. We saw this during, I want to say in Turkey, during like a major coup or a regime change. There was some corruption with like the president or the prime minister or whatever the leader is of Turkey a couple years ago. You can Google it. And the population was outraged. They tried to control the flow of information by doing DNS sinkholing at the federal level in Turkey. And people were spray painting Google's DNS resolver, which is 8.8.8.8. They were spray painting that on walls, and people were doing DNS configuration on their endpoints and being able to access Twitter, which I think was the main vehicle that people were using to kind of coordinate and logistically coordinate, protests and those type of things. So technology can do it. And if there's a way and there's a will and a desire by a population, they're going to get around it. Okay.
Report claims China launched cyber attacks against Ukraine. These claims are based on intelligence memos obtained by the Times of London and state that China launched the attack against military and nuclear targets shortly before the Russian invasion, subjecting over 600 sites to hacking attempts. The UK government confirmed that its National Cybersecurity Center is investigating the allegations. The Ukrainian Security Service denied that it supplied any information to security partners on the alleged attacks, explicitly denying it had nothing to do with the findings of the Times. Some security researchers note that the reported attacks fall into relatively routine Chinese tactics of scanning for vulnerabilities in infrastructure and would not constitute support for Russia's invasion.
Yeah. let's not jump to conclusions on this one, okay, guys? So China accused of cyber attacks on Ukraine. Guys, if you don't know this, there are scanners, right? Shodan is a scanner, right? So Shodan is going to scan the entire internet. Shodan is going to scan Ukrainian IP address ranges. Shodan is going to scan Russian IP address ranges. That does not mean that Shodan is launching cyber attacks on those countries. You see what I'm saying, right? Like what are we talking about? If you're talking about scanning public IP address ranges, that isn't really an attack, but you will see it in the logs. You'll see, this scan is coming from China in this case, right? So it must be an attack. So let's pump the brakes on that and really understand what's going on. Now, if you see a scan and then immediately you see like a brute force attempt on, like you've got port 3389 open and you start seeing hammering going on to log into that RDP. Yeah, that's a problem. But dude, there are so many scanners scanning the internet. All we have to do is build a honeypot and watch. And within 15 seconds, the box is going to start getting hit. That's how many, internet public IP address scanners are going on. So I think that is a little bit of what this is. I'm not calling this hype media, because there definitely was very likely a Chinese IP address that scanned a Ukrainian IP address. But, it's a bit of a reach to say that a scan is is an attack.
Q1 crypto losses up 695%. According to a new report from the firm ImmuneFi, there's been a loss of about $1.23 billion across the Web3 ecosystem in Q1, up almost 700% compared to the $154.6 million lost in Q1 2021. This was headlined by the recent attack on Axie Infinity's Ronin network for $625 million, but the quarter also saw massive losses from bridges on the Solana network, as well as exploiting a flaw in Qubit's Qbridge protocol. As of April 4th, there is roughly $230 billion in total value locked across various DeFi protocols.
Wow. Okay, so a couple things. I'm going to try to play this sound effect and have it not destroy my audio really quick.
I'm a crypto evangelist. I love it, love it, love it.
There we go, Charles. I am not a crypto evangelist. I don't love it, love it, love it. But what I will say is crypto losses, 695% spike. Now, guys, they did say it in the story, and it is worth mentioning, that Ronin network attack for $550 million the other day. That's one single event and really skews these numbers. So whenever you're doing, whenever you're being told a statistical value, always ask, what's the data set? What are the limitations of that data set? Was it one outlier? You see 700% increase in one quarter and you're like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. We got to invest in taking this out. But it was one event, right? So, be mindful of standard deviation and all these other things. I know the statistics class that we had to take back in the day was boring and stuff, but this is the result of that, right? So again, I'll just leave this one as basic. Crypto is where money is. Crypto can move easily. A lot of people don't know how to handle their crypto, right, in a secure way. A lot of younger people are kind of going YOLO with crypto and thinking that that's going to be like their long-term strategy for financial stability and independence, and it's not. So we see NFTs are like fraud central. So this doesn't surprise me. I would think that it's going to continue to be crypto losses. I don't think this is from devaluation of the crypto. I think this is from theft and compromise and stuff like that. But not surprised. This is going to continue because you know what? Bad guys go where the money is, and crypto is very, very liquid.
Cadbury scam is anything but sweet. Users on Facebook and WhatsApp report a new scam attempting to lure users with a promise of free Easter baskets of Cadbury eggs. Cadbury confirmed it's aware of the scam and is taking action to resolve the issue. Clicking on a link in the scam to claim your free basket takes you to a page where you're asked to share personal information. It does not appear that the page installs any malware directly, but it's probably not a good idea to share anything you don't have to with people operating a scam.
Yeah, there's an idea. Hold on. I think they got the actual message right here. Let's take a look at what this is. By the way, dude, Cadbury eggs. I mean, this is the equivalent. This is the equivalent of a van pulling up and trying to offer candy to a child. That's what this is. This is ridiculous. Screenshot of okay, so look at, here we go. Welcome to the Easter egg hunt giveaway. Okay, a couple of things here. This is actually pretty clever. Okay. Couple things, guys, worth noting. I thought this was going to be a BS story, but there's value here. Okay. First of all, be mindful. Threat actors are going to take advantage of whatever is hot right now. So, like, we're seeing an uptick in activity on Russia, Ukraine type phishing emails. Hey, do you want to donate money to support Ukraine? And like, really, it's just a scam, a fraud scam, and you're giving money to a bad guy. FIFA World Cup's coming up pretty soon, right? Look forward to a bunch of phishing emails related to that. Super Bowl, in this case, Easter, right? So if you send this email out in October, it's way less likely to be successful. Easter's around the corner. This is more successful. You could also see that they add 133 gifts left, adding that little bit of urgency to the end users. So hat tip to the bad guys. This is an effective way of compromising individuals. Again, what's the goal here? Maybe to get credentials. I don't really know what the objective is for the threat actors to come up with this clever thing, but you can also see it's tiny URL 2.ru. So I don't know if this is a Russian Cadbury egg website where they're trying to get that, but long story short, tell your end users, if you're going to do like a little quick post to educate your end users, tell them that, phishing messages are typically socially relevant, right? Because they want you to take time to read it. And if it's socially relevant, you're more likely to do it and fall for it, frankly. So just be mindful of that. All right.
Which means we've got another great episode.
All right. So that's going to do it for the stories. Let me get this music back on, right? Guys, really quick before we go, I just want to share a couple things. One, this Thursday, Simply Cyber Live, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're talking about the modern SOC analyst workflow. So if you work in a SOC, you want to work in a SOC, you're thinking, you're blue curious, come check this out, because we're gonna talk about what the 2022 contemporary actions of working in a modern SOC go. As a little teaser, I'll tell you, the big problem has always been getting telemetry. Well, guess what? Now we have a ton of telemetry. We've moved the problem down the road. Now we're getting alert fatigue. We're getting overwhelmed by all the telemetry. How do we make sense of it? That's what's going to be going on. Also, I teased it earlier during the show, but this is a new project concept. I'd love any feedback, guys. You know how I always ask the community to help me make whatever it is that we're doing with Simply Cyber as good as it can possibly be. This is called What's on Your Radar. Me, Eric Taylor from Barricade Cyber Solutions, and rotating guests who are senior, like I'm talking 10, 15 years minimum of experience in the industry. We're going to take one thing that this week, the week that it is wrapping up at this Friday at 4 p.m., what did you dig into? What is on your radar and why? Why is it relevant? I'm kind of thinking this will target more junior practitioners who don't have the skill yet, frankly, to be able to weigh story 1, story 2, story 3, and understand, like, this is a big deal and this isn't a big deal, right? This Cadbury egg thing, maybe you might think it's a big deal. Maybe you think it's nothing, right? But maybe we dig in and there's like actually a much bigger thing going on there. So that's the concept of this half-hour program. We'll see how it goes. Also, in a couple weeks, this one is a call to action, a request for you out in the community to be involved. Stacy Loki and I are going to co-host Simply Cyber Live on the 14th. It's going to be a radio call-in experience. We're going to be rapid fire running through people. If you have started in the industry in the last 12 months, we want to hear from you. We want to know what worked and what didn't work, right? Because we're trying to help people who are trying to break in, cut through the fluff, find the optimal path, not waste their time on boondoggles and goose chases, and actually break into the industry. And that's what we're doing with this particular episode. I'm super excited about that one. Guys, thank you all for being here. You know how wonderful you all are. Every single day. We'll be meeting tomorrow, Wednesday, April 6th at 8 a.m. for First Things First. Be good, be well, and I'll talk to you guys all tomorrow at 8 a.m. Thank you.